Hey, I'm Audrey Hope. Thanks for joining me for another episode of Hope for Relationships. I am the Soul Love Healer, and today we're going to hear from Tina from Gainesville, Florida, who wants to know, how do you cope with guilt and grief? Please join me. Healing is so unbelievably simple. You do what needs to be done, and that's it. Over. Problem solved. Hey, thanks for joining me so we could heal all our issues from the deep level of the soul. Today we hear from Tina from Gainesville, who tweets, I lost a dear friend recently and I'm feeling so horrible. I should have returned her calls. I should have done more things to help her. So now I have guilt and grief and it's just unbearable. Can you help me stop suffering because I never felt this level of pain before? Tina, I can help you in a personal way because I recently lost a best friend and I understand the depths of despair. You know, it's hard enough to lose someone, but when you couple it and marry it with guilt, and then you're in just an unbelievably painful situation, I want to help you by looking at it from a spiritual perspective, from the soul path, so it'll help you when you know the truth. So first of all, what is grief? Grief is, I should have, I could have, if only I had been there, then they wouldn't have. And that is just spiritually not true. Grief is also a very heavy, toxic energy, and it's like no other energy. And you could tell those who have been through grief because they understand. It is just like a hurricane living inside your little body, and you can't be nice to it or rational to it because it's like an explosion and it needs to be honored as such. So let's talk about the spiritual truth about death. The hardest lesson that we all need to learn in life is to let people have their own path. People are here to live in their own path, their own soul class. And we are not to interfere. We are not to take on their karma. We can't even save them. And we definitely can't sacrifice for them. It is not our job. And to spiritually know that when someone passes, what they wish for you more than anything else, the greatest gift that you can give them is to not suffer. And you also don't want to hold them back because, of course, when we pass over, we do a life review and there's unfinished business, and you don't want to hold them back by being in so much pain. So what they really want you to be is all right. The truth about death is that we are souls in continuous life, and life goes on. The other side is like a room, another frequency that we just visit. And the person on the other side will try to contact you in dreams, but you can't be afraid because they'll never come to you if you are afraid. Let's talk about the practical wisdom about grief, and that is that you have to honor the process. You have to honor the pain. Grief comes in waves. You feel good one moment, and you feel horrible the next. And you have to allow without judgment. You also have to know that grief is really intense, and you have to release it. It's raw, it's real, it's raging. And you have to honor that you can't just hold it in, you can't drug it, you can't hide it. You can't even pretend it's not there because it will be activated at some weird time if you try to hide it. Like when you're 70 and you're wondering, wow, my father passed when I was 10. How come now I'm having all these problems? So you have to honor that it is an explosive energy. It will drive you insane. It will drive you to madness, and you have to survive it. And you will survive it if you learn that it comes in rageful waves. And what you must do to heal it is to go outside and to externalize the feelings, to put your hand exactly where you feel it, and then move it along and keep crying. And then the next day, if you have to do it again, or the next minute that you have to do it again, you honor that because it will eventually be finished. Eventually, all of this energy will leave you and you feel whole again. And of course, you will be different. You will be changed. And it's a good transformation because you'll honor life and you'll know what's important and you won't take anything for granted. Now, practically speaking too, you do not do anything major in a time of grief. You don't move, you don't make heavy life decisions, and you learn to live every day to honor that person. And you also know that you might have anger, and this anger is so real. Anger at God, anger at the situation, anger at people die, you're gonna die, you're mad at everything that happened, and that's okay too. And don't try to cover it, and don't try to mask that. And also, just some advice here. You never want to say to a person who's grieving, well, it's gonna be okay, and the person's in a better place, even though that's true. You just want to say, I love you, I care about you, I'm here for you. Back to the release. When you release the real feelings, you got to get raw, and you got to get truthful, and you got to get ugly. You can't just say, well, I'm honoring the person who passed, so I want to be nice. No, unfinished business is getting out of your body all the things left unsaid that are really true and really there and really ugly. And when you release it, you're going to feel better, because the raw, honest truth is very, very healing. So Tina, you also have to understand forgiving yourself. I forgive. If you have to say it hundreds of times a day, I forgive myself, I love myself, I forgive myself. It's very healing, and it's a very spiritual way to get over grief. And so I hope you understand that grief can be madness, but guilt is so unnecessary. It's spiritually wrong, because we are not here to be anyone's keeper. We are only here to inspire and to invite someone along with us. And healing does happen when you honor the true process of grief. So Tina, I wish you well. I thank you so much for your question. That speaks so close to my heart. And I also dedicate this show to my dear friend, Nona Hansen, who I love so much. And this is Audrey Hope. Thank you for joining me. See you next time. If you have a question, you could write to me on my Facebook, my Instagram, my Twitter. The links are in the description box below. And don't forget to like and subscribe so we could heal all our issues from the deep level of the soul. I'm Audrey Hope, and thanks for joining me. Hey, if you like my videos, and I hope you do, then subscribe and click. Are you gonna click? Come on, click here now. Let's go.